As with all other sidings, be sure the substrate is smooth, flat, and weathertight before installing CedarBoards siding. If the surface is significantly uneven, apply a 1/4 inch foam sheeting before installation. Insulated siding is thicker than hollow vinyl siding. To accommodate the 1 1/4 inch thickness, we suggest using the CedarBoards starter strip. Around windows, doors, and other openings, use 1 1/4 inch J-channel. At outside corners, use CedarBoards outside corner posts, super corners, or a 4-piece outside corner with 1 1/4 receiver channels. At inside corners, you can either use the 1 1/4 inch inside corner post or use 2 1 1/4 inch J-channels. For any accessories not designed for insulated siding, such as fixture plates and outlet boxes, use foam shims to bring the accessory out on the same plane as the siding panels. The foam needs to be removed from the back of the panel, the entire size of the accessory, plus a minimum 1/4 inch for clearance. Insert the factory or field cut end of the panel into the corner post, and be sure to allow a 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch for expansion and contraction depending on the ambient temperature. To determine the measurement of the last piece of siding at each course, measure the distance from the inside edge of the receiver channel to the foam edge of the previous panel. Subtract the proper amount of room for expansion and contraction from this measurement. Then transfer to the piece to be cut, starting at the foam edge. This will ensure a butt fit on the foam and the proper room in the receiver for expansion and contraction. This siding incorporates the Stud Finder installation system, which helps to locate studs. For an explanation of how it works, refer to the section on installing horizontal siding. Fasten cedar boards with a minimum 2-inch stainless steel or corrosion-resistant nails. Center the nail in the nail slot and drive the nail straight in until there is a 1/16 of an inch between the nail head and the nailing flange. On factory-cut panels, the insulation is set back 3/4 of an inch from the panel ends. To overlap the panels, slip the vinyl edge of the underneath panel between the insulation and the vinyl. Slide the panels together until the foam ends touch, or you achieve a minimum overlap of 1 inch. The maximum overlap should not exceed 1½ inches. In some cases, the foam backing will create enough stiffness to span over or under a window without additional support. Secure the last course of siding under the soffit with undersill trim, dual undersill trim, or a cornice receiver with finish board. We recommend the cornice receiver with finish board as it provides an attractive look and eliminates the need for shims. Prior to installing the last course of CedarBoards siding, apply cornice receiver beneath the soffit. Measure from the bottom edge of the lock on the previous panel to the bottom edge of the nail hem on the cornice receiver and subtract a 1/2 inch. Take a measurement in at least 3 places along the run. This measurement is the width of the final lap of siding to be installed. Transfer the measurement to the final panel and cut. A circular saw makes quick work of cutting through a CedarBoards panel. Use a utility knife to separate the top 1 inch of foam from the panel. Note the location of the studs on the panel and punch nail slots every 16 inches. Lock the panel into place and fasten. When all panels are installed, cut finish board to size and install into cornice receiver using the palm of your hand as you go to help engage the locking leg of the finish board into the cornice receiver. When using undersill trim or dual undersill trim to secure the panel, shim the trim out to accommodate the thickness of the siding. Remove the top 1 inch of the foam backing so the top of the panel fits into the trim. The adhesive holding the insulation begins 1 inch back from the edge of the foam. Use a snap lock punch to raise tabs every 6 inches to lock the panel into the trim. Finally, because CedarBoards siding is thicker than normal vinyl siding, windows, doors, and other openings may have to be built out to avoid looking recessed. Use wood shims and vinyl lineals to build out the openings. To reduce the amount of seams on your insulated siding job, plan to use extended length CedarBoards XL, which comes in a length of 16 feet 8 inches. While CedarBoards XL installs much the same as CedarBoards, there are some differences. When fitting CedarBoards XL into trim pieces, allow a 3/8 inch gap between the siding and trim for expansion and contraction when the ambient temperature is 40 degrees or above. When it is below 40 degrees, allow a 1/2 inch for expansion and contraction. When overlapping CedarBoards XL panels, lap the panels 1 1/4 to 1 3/4 inches and butt the foam together when the ambient temperature is 40 degrees or above. When it is below 40 degrees, lap the panels 1 inch to 1 1/2 inches and leave a 1/4 inch space between the foam. To install band board to transition from one type of siding to another, rip cut the top course of siding to the height you desire. Use a utility knife to separate the top 1 inch of foam from the panel. Punch nail slots to align with studs every 16 inches, a 1/4 inch from the panel's edge, and install. Measure up 1 1/2 inches from the installed panel and snap a chalk line at that height. Install cornice receiver on the chalk line, being sure to nail loosely every 8 to 12 inches. Finally, push the snap leg of the band board into the receiver. And slide into the receiver, allowing enough room for expansion and contraction. For band board lengths less than 12 feet, leave a 1/4 inch gap in the receivers when installing in temperatures 40 degrees or above Fahrenheit, and 3/8 of an inch gap at temperatures below 40 degrees. For lengths greater than 12 feet, allow 3/8 of an inch gap at temperatures 40 degrees or above, and a 1/2 inch gap at temperatures below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Finally, loosely center nail every 8 to 12 inches. To overlap band board, you must prepare the overlapping panel by cutting the back 1 1/2 inches of foam and remove the bottom portion of the rear snap leg. Slip the vinyl edge of the bottom portion of the seam between the foam and the vinyl panel. Slide the two pieces together, overlapping them 1 1/4 inches, leaving a 1/4 inch gap between the foam for expansion. Finally, loosely center nail into the overlapping nail slot.